Morning. All right, we're going to take a little break from brain science, but then we'll come right back to it because we're going to need as many tools and brain hacks as possible to deal with the chaos that comes after Corona. It's Corona and then chaos potentially, and you need to be prepared for it. So, one of the things I'm going to share with you, and by the way, I am not political, as I've said before. I don't believe in being bound by any party because I think it's important for us to think outside the box and understand all the pieces of the puzzle and try to solve the puzzle that is life and our brains as accurately as possible to produce more happiness and success. And so, what I'm going to provide you now is going to sound like it's more of a conservative argument, but I'm just going where the math takes me. Um, and so, sorry to many of my physician colleagues and friends who may disagree with this, but I welcome your challenge. I don't care about being right. I don't care about being wrong. I don't care about being dumb, frankly. If you've got an alternative way of thinking about it, please educate all of us and let's go from there. And this may actually force me to get on social media. Mostly I've been communicating through Sarah Stryker, who's been kind enough to post our videos and give me some of the feedback that's coming. So thank you also for all the kind words, and thank you to Alex Dutch Green and Greg Poss for their videos. All right, here's a simple way to look at the mathematics of death, unfortunately, because one of the big raging controversies right now is social isolation continuing versus opening up the economy. And most people seem to be saying, you have to stay isolated, but I don't think it's that simple. And here's why. If you look at the evidence from some big town in Germany as well as in Iceland, where they did almost complete testing or a very high density of testing, they both indicated about a 0.4% death rate. And so you multiply that by, let's say, even our whole population gets affected. You're talking about 1.2 million people die, sadly. Now, assume that it's more towards the elderly side of the equation and you have about 30 years loss of life expectancy. That's approximately 40 million life years. Sounds like a lot, right? Now, guess what happened from 2014 to 2017? 3 years in a row, the United States experienced a drop in life expectancy of 0.1 year every year for 3 years in a row. We lost 30 million life years 3 years in a row. That's 90 million life years. Okay, so there is a cost, and the reason that happened, and we get into that in other presentations, is what are called deaths of despair, meaning psychological crisis, anxiety, stress, fear have led to lots of deaths from alcohol overdoses, drug overdoses, suicide, gun violence, and chronic disease and acute disease being made worse. And so we have to understand that if we allow the economy to collapse, there are going to be much worse deaths of despair, much worse impact on life expectancy, potentially 30 to 60 million life years lost per year for the next 5 to 8 years. That represents between 300 to 500 million life years lost compared to a one-time charge of 50 million life years in the worst case scenario with the coronavirus. So you have to have mathematics to understand and compare apples to apples. Now, we wish we had the testing done in a better way at a more federal level, at a global level, because we'd have a better understanding of the mathematics and know the truth about what's happening here. But even in the worst case scenario, it appears that we're talking about 50 million life years lost, and in the meantime, vaccines catch up, treatment catches up, isolation has already been in place. If we had better testing, yes, we would have a more clarity on that, but still, we're talking 50 million life years compared to 300 to 500 million life years from having an economic collapse just in this country. So please keep that in mind when we're having these debates. It's not as simple as we think it is, and we need to keep talking about it. Let's not be shrill and shout at each other. Let's try to understand this puzzle and help each other get to the truth. The key is to get to the truth so we can then make adjustments in our lives. All right, we'll keep talking. Take care.